Welcome to another episode of our top list. This is your boy Reg in the building. I'm a homeboy Try with me.
What up?
So we're gonna do the top 20 hip hop albums of 1993. This is gonna be like one of the ones that might be a bit too difficult and stuff like that to rank. You know what I'm saying? I'd actually do my list at least about maybe two times, honestly. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So I can't wait to talk about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Top 20. Let's get started with number 20. This
Yes.
might be just to let you know, I have a lot of surprise on this list. So
No,
just letting
boy.
you know right now and
You're
stuff.
stirring the pot. You want people to talk.
Yeah. Some
Okay.
albums, y'all gonna be surprised that's gonna be on my list, but I'm gonna explain.
Oh.
Number 20 is gonna be Tupac with Strictly for My Niggas.
Oh man. You see already you started.
Well, yeah. Okay. So this is the second studio album and whatnot. You know, crazy story about this album. This album was originally supposed to have came out in 1992, and it was supposed to have gone under the name Troublesome 21. But
Mhm.
the thing was, um, they Interscope heard the original version of, and they did not really like it because it was like too dark.
Wow.
It was too militant, but they still saved certain tracks. Like Keep Your Head
But
Up. I
they
get.
and then but they didn't like that, but they let Me Against the World come out, and that's Dog.
Well, you got to also understand. I'm gonna get into all that. I'm gonna get
Oh,
into that because Tupacalypse Now was like it was good commercial, but it wasn't as got a lot of strong numbers
right,
and stuff like that too. So,
right.
by the way, shout out to Celebrity Underrated because they did a dope video on Shock G, and because Shock G, him and Pac were talking about marketing on this album and stuff like that too. Oh, I forgot to mention about the album cover. The album cover, or the original album cover, was supposed to have Pac wrapped around the American flag, and it was supposed to be the American flag on fire or some shit like that too. But
Right.
they changed it to the whole computerized graphics and stuff like that, you know. And Shock G, he said that he wanted "I Get Around" to be like the first single, but
Right.
Pac wanted "Holla If You Hear Me," which that's like one of my favorite Pac songs. Period. I'm not gonna hold you, and because Stretch did the beat on that one,
Mm-hmm.
but commercially, it wasn't really burning the charts up like that. And then "I Get Around" was like his breakout, and then
Right.
"Keep Your Head Up" came out, and then
Mm-hmm.
the rest is history and stuff
Right.
like that too. Honestly, this is the Pac out. This is the Tupac I fucking like. It's not a classic album by any means, but it's still a very damn good album. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Papa's song. My favorite track, "Last Words" with Ice Cube and Ice T, which I forgot Jam Master Jay and Bobcat did the beat to that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Peep Game was dope. Representing 93 and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? Even like some of the unreleased tracks off this album, I think he did like a lot of unreleased tracks or soundtrack placements, like Definition of a Thug Nigga. That was dope. He did this one song that was on the Above the Rim soundtrack, but it was the cassette version. The original version of Loyal to the Game was Stretch.
Uh-huh.
I mean Stretch. I think Stretch is Stretch. I think that shit's all over the posthumous version, of course. But
Posthumous.
yeah, but my number 20 is Tupac Strictly for My Niggas.
All right. Number 20, I got Salt and Pepper, Very Necessary.
That's an honorable mention.
Their most successful album. They picked the right hits, Shoot, big hit, What a Man with In Vogue, big hit. I got them a Grammy. None of Your Business. I think None of Your Business they won for that one, or they were nominated
Yeah,
for that one.
they won for that one.
That was a dope song. I definitely enjoy it. It's not my favorite Salt and Pepper album. I still prefer Black's Magic. I think that's their best, and
Okay.
Assault with a Deadly Pepper. But this has some joints, and it just goes to show you that when you pick the right singles, even if it's not a classic album, it goes a long way. And they were sexy in a lot of those videos. And Shoop, when they had Coney Island with the swimsuits on, and they had the rocking the short hairstyles, and What a Man. That video with In Vogue is in that, and Tupac and Tretch is actually in that video as well, and they were definitely in their prime at this point, and definitely enjoy this album. To me, they last good album. The brand new album I didn't care for. Okay, I think I came out like what was that 95, 96 I came out.
I never heard that album.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Like they you could tell they were like already like fed up. They were like already on their way out with that album. But this album is definitely a gem for '93, and one of they best.
Yeah, and it's crazy too
Mhm.
because the irony of Pac and Salt and Pepper, because it's crazy because of the fact that Pac was on that What a Man video, but they had to block his face because
Yeah,
he was going through the whole sexual abuse scandal
right.
and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And I think he felt some kind of way about that too. Of course, which that's understandable. I'm not gonna lie, that's understandable because it was rumored that Herbie he felt like Pac would be a bad influence when it comes to Salt and Pepper because they had that crossover quality,
right.
and he actually dedicated "Keep Your Head Up." He on not dedicated, but like the conversations that Salt and Tupac had
Mm,
about life and spirituality, it actually influenced him to do "Keep Your Head Up" and stuff too. You know what I'm saying?
wow, that's dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So it's crazy how that kind of turned out and shit like that too. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Facts.
Wow, we're 2 albums in, and we already have two Tupac references. Wow.
Right. Oh
Now,
man.
my number 19. This is an album I cannot stand the dislike for and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, Ghetto Boys Till Death Do Us Part. Oh my god, this
Yes.
is one of my favorite albums from the Ghetto. I actually like this a bit more than We
Mm,
Can't Be Stopped, honestly. And I love We Can't Be Stopped. Mm.
right.
Now, this album they did without Willie D. And the reason being because Willie D felt like, and this is coming from research, he felt like he wasn't given the right creative
Mm,
control when it came to the Ghetto Boys and stuff like that too. And him and Jay Prince, I think, went at it. Plus,
yeah.
it's common knowledge that him and Bushwick Bill never actually got along like that and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's crazy.
So they fought a couple times, and then Willie D was replaced by what's his name, Big Mike.
Right.
At that time, Mike was already had a following because he was already in the Rap a Lot group, Convicts. He was originally a writer for Death Row Records too.
Yeah.
Like the song "Crooked Officer" was originally supposed to have been for a Death Row song.
Right.
Not a lot of people know that.
Right.
But back to this album. This fucking album is so fucking ill. Like I love Till Death Do Us Part and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
6 Feet Deep. I love the way they flip that Commodore sample. They're like in a funeral and stuff like that too. Call Me Crazy. I love This Dick's For You.
Uh huh.
Shit like that. That's again. I don't know what it is. I just sex tracks. It's hit or miss. But
Right.
with certain sex fucking track that I can vibe with, and that beat is fire. Because
Mm.
I know Joe is so fucking underrated. I'm sorry. Um, what else? Straight Gangsterism. I love that. Serial Killer. One of my all-time favorite Scarface solo tracks. Actually, they all did their thing on the solo tracks. Big Mike, he did No Nuts for Glory. Bushwick Bill, of course, he had Murder Avenue. But Face, he had like 4 solo tracks on this album, and I feel like Serial Killer and Street Life, which Street Life was also on the South Central soundtrack.
Yeah.
Very movie. Glenn Palmer did his thing on that movie.
Uh huh.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, Posse Cut, Bring It
Posse
On.
cut.
Oh my God,
Yes.
Gangsta Nip, Fifth Ward Boys,
Gangsta
Seagram,
Nip.
Yes, Gangsta Nip,
Mm.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
One of the greatest horrorcore rappers to ever come from the South. I don't give a fuck what no one says. But yeah, man, that's my number 19 Till Death Do Us Part. Love it.
Okay. Number 19, I got Funk Dubious. Which Doobie You Be? Underrated album.
Not a fan.
Funk Dubious to me was underrated. They were like the most well, I don't want to say they were the most underrated. I feel like Psycho Realm was also underrated in the Soul Assassins crew,
Yeah.
but their first two albums, this album and Brothers Doobie, and a lot of people prefer Brothers Doobie, but this album is heavily slept on, and I love the Muggs production on here. You know, I'm shitting on him and Bow Wow Wow. That was the first single. Video Music Box played that video a lot when this album came out. You know, Wop Baba Loobop with Be Real, Fire. Definitely loved as that Cypress Hill, you know, gritty mug sound.
Mm.
Definitely enjoy this, you know, Son Doobie and Tomahawk Funk and Ralph M. Underrated rap group. So definitely one of my favorites. And yeah.
I never got into them, but I do admit
Mhm.
Muggs made some of his best beats with them.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of Muggs, my number 18 is Cypress Hill Black Sunday.
Hey, see? You see how that go?
I swear to God, you've been peeping at my list and shit. I don't know what it
No.
is.
Cypress Hill is on my list, but it's way up because I played that like a lot in '93. So
Yeah. Now you guys should know this is not my favorite Cypress album and stuff like that too, but it is their most iconic album
mm,
to say the least because they became the first hip hop group to have two albums in the top 10 at the same time because by that time the self title was still popping and shit like that too.
right.
I feel like with this album, it really brought them to Cypress so that the fans know and love. And the reason why I say that is because they had more emphasis on like the weed culture when it came to this album. Yep, yes, the self-titled, it did have its weed songs and stuff like that, but Black Sunday took it to a whole nother level. Everyone knows Insane in the Brain. I recently done a What's the Beef episode on that, we know with that's originally a diss track aimed at Chubb Rock and Kid Frost and stuff like that too.
Right.
And then you got I Wanna Get High. I love that fucking track.
I want to take it high,
High,
so
so
high.
high.
That's a great album opener, yo.
Yes. They
Yeah.
always killed it with album openers, man.
Yes,
Oh God.
definitely.
Spark
Definitely.
Another Owl from Temples of the
Hmm.
Boom. That's actually my
Yes.
favorite Cypress Hill song,
That's very
honestly.
good. Yeah, man.
Um, but I'm not gonna lie, the last four joints,
Mm,
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really gravitate towards them as much as like the first 10. I kind of felt like
right.
it kind of drugged the album down, but it's still a dope ass album. I just preferred self-titled and Temple of Boom over this one and shit like that too. So
Right.
I'm not gonna deny its impact on this shit, you know what I'm saying? But this is Cypress Hill Black Sunday.
And they like I think with that album they really opened up a broader they really like connected with a broader audience, you
Yes,
know, with their music and being on Lollapalooza festivals and stuff like that. And
yes.
you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, they just took off from there, yo. Like, you know,
And
it's,
people don't give Cypress Hill a lot of credit because they were one of the first acts to really drive the whole alternative crowd to hip hop and stuff like
facts.
that too. It
Yeah.
wasn't Jay-Z with Cole with Linkin
Nope.
Park, no.
Nope. Nope.
Hell, even
Cypress Hill was
Public
one.
Enemy too, and
Yep.
KRS One, but Cypress Hill took it to another level.
Facts. Number 18 for me is Souls of Mischief, 93 till Infinity.
This is how we
A
do from 90 to oof.
classic album. Classic album. And all four MCs lyrically gifted, OPO and A plus and Festo, Tajay. I love this album. The title track was a big hit over here. You know, radio did actually play it, you know, back then when it came out. Never No More, one of my favorites. You know, That's When You Lost. You know what I'm saying? I wish they had put the was it cab fare. I wish they had put the cab fare on here where they sampled the taxi theme song.
Yes.
Um, I
Your
remember
favorite show, buddy. Your
my
favorite
favorite
show,
show, right?
buddy.
Now you see how that goes. My favorite show. But I remember hearing Cab Fear on Stretch and Barbito, and they were like, "Yo, it's an unreleased joint from 93 till Infinity." I'm like, "Yo, they should have put this shit on the album at least as a bonus track or something, a hidden track." But nevertheless, a great album, great production from Domino and Dell and A plus, J Biz, Casual even did a joint on here. phenomenal album. And I love their first two albums. I think No Man's Land is severely slept on. We did a album
Yeah,
review on that on my channel like a couple years ago. But yes, 90 Till Infinity will always be their classic. So
yeah,
salute the hero.
yeah, man. Not the biggest fan of Souls of Mischief, but I do fuck with that
Right.
album.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man. I was watching
It's all
remember
good.
the episode Living Single when Sinclair ran naked in that play?
I have to watch that again because it's been years since I've seen like a lot of those episodes.
Uh I don't know, I
And
forgot.
and the anniversary was today, so
You see?
it's crazy.
And then we're gonna talk about it next week and
Yes,
shit. So
yes.
can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. That's all
Hmm.
right. All right. My number 17 is gonna be one of those surprise picks. Diggable planets reaching a
Mm,
new refutation of time and space. Man, now you guys should know I fucking love this group. I feel like this group, out of all the hip hop groups that really had like one or two albums, I wish we had more of them. I
okay.
really wish we had more albums from them.
Hmm.
I would say a good 4 or 5 at least.
Right.
But this album was known for the classic "I'm Cool Like That." Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun. I love that fucking track, man.
Yes.
Um, so fucking laid back, so ill, so fucking.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just
Yes.
one of those hip hop and I remember when I watched VH1 100 greatest hip hop songs and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. First of all, horrible list, but
Mm.
it introduced me to a lot of artists, and I heard this fucking joint, and I fucking
Right.
loved it as soon as I heard it.
Right.
Um, but it had classic other stuff like "Where I'm From." I love that track.
Yes.
Um, love La Famille Fatale, which I think that was a track that was talking about abortion on that track too.
Hmm.
One of Ladybug's best performances, which probably the most slept on female MC of all time. I'm just gonna be real with y'all about that.
Yeah.
She was Lauryn Hill before Lauryn Hill. Let's keep it a fucking buck. I'm just get at me, Lauryn fans. Get at
Yeah.
me. Nickel bags. What Cool Breezes do. I mean, very very dope tracks. Right, dope track like here. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Now I'm more of a blowout comb fan and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
blowout comb was just that album where I feel like it was way ahead of its fucking time and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
this album to me is still a fucking timeless masterpiece.
Facts. Oh man. Um, what we got? Number 17.
Buddy.
17. I got the Youngsters, the Aftermath. My favorite Youngsters album. It's their second album, and at this time they went hardcore. They shaved their heads. They started rocking the Timbs and the Carhartt vests. You know, they had production from Naughty by Nature and Premier, Pete Rock. You know, Marley Marl, the Beatnuts, and man, that was an unexpected album because that was like my first time hearing any of their albums. So I didn't hear the first one in '92, and when Cruise Pop dropped, that was a huge hit over here, and I was hooked. And just from that single and watching them perform that on Young TV Raps, I went out and I bought the album on cassette, and it was hardcore hip hop, man. The Wild Child, produced by the Beatnuts, they got a video for that. That was dope. Is He With Me? Another video they have for that. Pete Rock did that joint. That was hard. Um, Honeycomb Hideout. That was a banger. Um, Who's the Mike record with Pete Rock and Seal Smooth was on that. Lot of bangers on this album. I think it went under the radar because you know the label that they were on, East West Records, didn't promote it. But man, that's always been it's between this and No Mercy as my two favorite Youngsters albums. No Mercy had the K Def and Marley Marl production that was great on that one. But yeah, Aftermath was definitely solid and that's like their most like hardcore album.
Dope, dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I fucking love the youngsters, man. That's probably
Yeah.
my favorite kid groups, kid
Hmm.
rappers and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
Um Next album, I I said we had number 16.
Yeah.
LL Cool J's 14 Shots to the Dome.
Woo. Mm.
His quote unquote worst album, which
Is that what they used to say?
people said it. Yeah, people still say to this
Really?
day. I'm just like,
Nah. His compared to the shit he dropped in the 2000s?
exactly.
Fuck no. That's a
Exactly.
classic compared to all that other shit he did.
Hell, it's to me, it's a classic album, regardless of all that shit. I don't give a fuck
Right.
what nobody says. I don't give a
Right.
fuck. I bumped this fucking album. This was LL LL at his fucking prime and shit like that, boy. So the story with this album, I think this album was supposed to have came out like around late 92 or some shit. But you know, because this was around the time when the West Coast cut West Coast gangster rap, and he was kind of like emulating the kind of sound a little bit with this album.
Right.
And it's crazy too because he was dating Kidada Jones at that time, Quincy Jones' daughter,
Right.
and ironically, QD3, Quincy Jones' son, produced the majority of this album. Well, not majority, but a good amount of the album and stuff like that. And according to LL, he said that Kidada placed a curse on this album or some shit like that.
What?
Because she said she didn't like the album and she felt it didn't connect with her spiritual being, so she placed a curse on it, and he feel like that's why the album didn't really do as commercially successful.
I was just thinking, you see the connection with him and Pac? Maybe Pac had beef with him because he was
another Pac reference. Wow,
Pac was a troublemaker. He was everywhere.
And you know that's how they first beef, right? Because you know they were both after Kidada Jones and
right.
shit like
that. I just put two and two together because of that. Because I didn't understand how he had beef with LL anyway. I'm like, oh, Kidada, okay.
Yeah, wow. You know,
it's always over a woman.
Always.
Crazy.
So where was I? So yeah, this album to me was just one of my favorites and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? I fucking love Stand By Your Man. But the thing with I feel like the remix of Stand By Your Man and Put Pink Cookies were much better than the album versions.
Yeah.
I love No Front and Allowed with Lords of the Underground. Yes. He threw some shots at Kumo D with that one. Soul Survivor was dope. My favorite track, Straight from Queens, when he was just rapping all fast and stuff like Unger. I was like, oh. And it was the first time you ever heard LL rapping fast like that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Honestly, if I had to base this off rapping wise, this might be next to Big and Death my favorite album rapping wise.
Right.
But Mama Said Knock You Out still takes the cake, in my opinion.
Definitely. Number 16, I got The Licks, 21 and Over. 5 Mic Classic. I love The Licks album. And again, this don't sound like a West Coast album. It was like East Coast boom bap. And you had Tash and J Roll and E Swift just, you know, kicking bars over some dope ass beats, you know, Only When I'm Drunk. Love that joint and you know, Last Call, Mary Jane, Make Room. Like they shit. I used to see their videos all the time on Rap City. Rap City was always bumping their stuff, and you know, it's just 10 solid bangers, a 5 Mic Classic in my opinion. Always loved the Licks and the whole Liquid crew, you know, Exhibit and you know, what's his name? King T, you know, the Far Ride. Love the Liquid crew. Definitely you know, this album, I feel like this album still doesn't get appreciated over here. Like West Coast appreciates it, East Coast, you know how they are, but this is definitely a 5 Mic Classic.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying on that. My number 15, yeah. Kenyelli, Vagina Diner.
Ooh, I need to get that. I don't have that one.
I need to get that too. The closest I have is the T-shirt.
I got what's the EP? The name of the EP? I got the EP.
I know the one from '96. Put It in Your Mouth.
That one, but never. I wasn't. I came in late on Akinelli. Like when Vagina Diner was out, I was like, eh. But when he dropped when he dropped the Put It in Your Mouth joint, that's when people started to check for him.
Put it in your
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah, that's
I said your
crazy, crazy.
motherfucking
One of
mouth.
the most explicit rap songs ever.
Yes.
You
First of all,
know,
the sample that they use for that, I love that
right,
sample and stuff like that.
right.
Because when I hear that sample, I don't always think of India.Arie. I always think of Akinyele first.
Facts,
But yeah,
facts.
this is some of Large Professor's best work.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a fucking buck, man.
Hmm.
Mind you, this was before Illmatic, mind you. And shit, this was after Main Source, before Illmatic.
Right.
I love Akhaha, Akuhu. I love that. Worldwide. I love her. You know my style. I mean, it's not really that much talking about subject matter, but the way he was
Hmm.
riding on them fucking beats and stuff like
Yeah.
that, because he was
Facts.
just killing that shit.
Killing it.
I never heard the latter albums. I've heard of EP a while back, but I never heard of the album from '01. I never heard it, but one day I'll get into that.
Mm. Octopus, the octopus joint.
Yeah,
I he had a movie, a mini movie for that album. I remember, yo, they I remember pay-per-viewing it back in the day on cable because it was that's the only way you could have watched it,
yeah.
and it was like a little mini, like a long form movie. Like you try to do like some streets is watching shit with that. They had
Mm-hmm.
like a bunch of naked girls in the movie with them, and I haven't seen that shit in a minute. I wonder if YouTube even have that. I'm gonna have to check streaming.
They do.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't seen that in forever.
yeah, YouTube. Last time I checked, they had that album.
Yeah.
Stuff like
No,
that.
I'm talking about the mini movie for it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, because it's out of. I'm pretty sure it's out of print on DVD now. If it even made it to DVD, so you know. Yeah, I remember that. What happened to Akinelli? I remember seeing him on a Drink Champs once, but he ain't coming out with nothing.
He was on Drink Champs when?
Yeah, he was on the one with 50 Cent. He was
Oh
on that
wow.
one. Yeah.
Well, according to Wikipedia, he retired from hip hop and he opened
Oh,
up a strip club,
of course.
but a strip club is closed down and shit like
Oh
that too.
shit.
So
Wow.
wow, that's the last
Yeah.
people heard of him and
I would
stuff.
I would love for him to do another album with Large Pro.
Yeah, man.
You
Because
know,
honestly, man, shit, I don't give a fuck. Vagina Down is a classic to me. I don't give a fuck.
definitely underrated. You know. Where we at 16?
50.
15. Lords of the Underground. Here come the Lords.
I just heard that
Mo-
album for the first time.
Yo, this to me is their best album. I like uh Keepers of the Funk, but I think this was their best album, and you know the production from K Def and you know Marley Marl, and they had some Funky Child was a huge single from them, and you
Right.
know the Chief Rocker was another big hit from this album. You know, Psycho. I love it, man. And at this time, I remember being in high school and people saying how there were rumors that they were biting. They had beef with Das Effects, and I never felt like they sounded like Das Effects.
Me
You
neither.
know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't know who started that because they have totally two different styles and different producers and everything. So I don't know where that started from. And you know, but when I remember getting
Yo.
this back in the day on cassette and hearing it, I'm like, yo, bangers. You know what I'm saying? Lord Jazz sent me one time, and you got Lord Jazz actually rapping. He had a verse on that joint, and I like the video where they were like they were at some college. I forgot the college that they did the video at, but that was dope. And you know, Sleep for Dinner, and they talk about how they were so broke that they had to like I remember the verse for Mr. Funky Man, and he mentioned something about like he used to pick his burgers and eat it for dinner because that's how broke he was. Yo,
Wow.
that that song was crazy. From the Bricks, I was banging. This whole album was fire. Like 5 Mic Classic. I definitely need to get this either on vinyl or CD because yeah, this was I definitely missed this album.
I definitely don't blame you.
Yeah.
All right. Number 14, another surprise pick. Intelligent Hoodlum, also known
Mm.
as Tragedy Gaddafi.
I knew you was gonna have him on your list
Of course,
because
Saga of
you talk a lot about this album.
yes, it's a damn good album, Saga of a
Mm.
Hoodlum.
Yeah.
And Yeah, we gotta talk about it. I'm trying to look for. I'm trying to get this album too
Yeah,
because I want to actually have in my collection to talk about it. But
right.
this album to me, man. Now, granted, it's not as good production wise. They use a bit too many familiar samples, which I can excuse that. I can excuse that because I felt like the first one with Large Professor's influence and stuff like that too. Because let's be real, it was a lot of those classic beats Large Professor made. Marley Marl did his thing on stuff like that, but Large Professor orchestrated his sound to a T.
Right.
Because you know, K Def came to this fucking album and stuff like that too, and he did the majority of this album.
Mm,
I, as soon as you hear that beginning pianos with Shalom Alak, that dan, that beat, yeah, I was like, ah,
yeah.
shit, that's my fucking shit, boy.
Wow.
Then we had Grand Groove. I kind of like I said, I like the bonus mix a bit more because it uses the reminding me sample from Patrice Russian, which
Yes.
everybody and their moms use that sample between 93 to 95, honestly.
Facts. Facts.
Death Row, Past the Tech with
Yeah.
Havoc.
LED. Yep.
Yes, man. Pump the Funk, man. Mad Brothers Know His Motherfucking Name, man. This whole fucking album was legitly one of my favorite albums from '93. And yeah, man, I wish we would have done another album for Intelligent Hoodlum, but I think at that point I think he went to jail. I
Right.
think after the release of this album or some shit like that. And then
Right.
he got out and he became Tragedy Gaddafi. He ended up discovering Capone and Noriega, and the rest is history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But other than that, this was a very dope joint. Also, he also did a title track on the soundtrack to Posse, the Mario Van Peebles
I
movie and
remember that.
shit.
I remember that.
That was a weird
That
movie, but
that movie. I haven't seen that movie in years.
that was a
I,
weird
me-
movie.
I remember Kane was a cowboy.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Anyway, that's my number 14.
All right, number 14 for me is Queen Latifah Black Rain, my favorite
Ooh.
Latifah album. I remember getting this for Christmas that year on cassette, and man, it's phenomenal. Uh, I think she had like one of the biggest rap anthems, one of the biggest like anthems for women with UNITY and and having speaking about being sexually assaulted by men, and verbally assaulted. Who you calling a bitch? You know what I'm saying? And love that. Love the horns on that. Um, the beat, the bass line, everything about that song. The video was dope. Just another day. That was like the her East Coast version of it was a good day. And that was a great song. Black Hand Side. Love that joint to start the album off. And Weekend Love with Tony Rebel. She did a little
We,
reggae joint.
I
She
love
did,
that.
where she was, filmed that video out on the beach and with Tony Rebel, and just a phenomenal album. And she did a little bit. Well, she was doing a little bit of singing even before this album. I feel like she was delving more into like the jazz R&B side of things with this album too, and the production from KG and man, classic album. I love Latifah's whole discography. I think she has more than one classic. I love her discography, definitely, man. Like she's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, man. I even love Order in the Court, honestly.
Yes, that's
For
that. I
quote,
like that one too.
for
And
quote
that
unquote,
one, nobody talks about that one.
yeah, that's a quote unquote worst album, which I don't understand.
I don't get
That's
that.
too. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Um, my number 13 is Brand Nubian In God We Trust.
Mm,
Yeah, man. This was definitely one of my favorite albums. Actually, scratch. That's actually my favorite album. I know it's a controversial thing to say because Grand Puba,
right.
his influence still reigns and stuff like that. But I love One for All.
Mm,
But like, I feel like in God We Trust, it proved that they can actually do better
I agree.
and stuff like that too. Because
But I think they, at least for me, they proved that they can still make a dope album without Pooba.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because not gonna lie, Lord Jamar, he did his thing in All for One, but I feel like Sadat X came out more with this album.
Yeah.
Um, so with this album and shit like that, they had was known for songs like Punks Jump Up to Get a Beat Down.
Mm,
Love that track. You know what I'm saying? Which
Facts.
that caused like a lot of controversy because they were had a gay line, they had an anti homophobic line and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Allah and Justice was dope. Pastor Gat, Love Me or Leave Me Alone, where you heard Mary J. Blige on the vocals and stuff like that.
Love that song.
Allah You Akbar, my favorite
Yes.
joint, the Travel Jam. I mean,
Oh,
yeah. Bam! Dun, 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 dun,
that was.
bam!
I was like, why they this shit sound like some Pakistani shit? What's going on here? You know,
Yeah, man. I mean, that whole album,
you know.
man, classic.
Yes. Number 13. This is gonna be controversial, but this is like one of my favorite albums that I played a lot during summer '93 when this dropped, and it is Crisscross the Bomb.
Oh hell no!
Love this
Oh
album.
hell
Hey,
no!
I gotta keep it true to myself. It was Cypress Hill, Black Sunday, and this album that I played a lot in summer '93. This album this is my favorite Crisscross album. I love this more than the first one with Jump and all that other shit. This to me, where they got into their G Funk bag with Jermaine Dupri in the production, and
Dollar Store Death Row bag.
it was fire, man. I'm real banging track. All right with Super Cat, the first single. Love that joint. Um, the what's the joint? A Lot to Live For, where they actually sampled a part of the a different world episode that they were on with
Oh wow!
when they played that's a classic episode. We talked about that when they Dwayne was
OG.
schooling. Yeah. Yeah, he was the OG was schooling them, when they were
Yo,
like, gang banging and all that.
every time I think of that episode, I always think of Colonel dressing up like Flavor Flav or some shit like
Right.
that.
That was funny.
Trying to have a serious moment, like nigga, please.
Yes. And you had they DJ at the time, DJ Nabs. He even had his own track on here, the DJ Nabs break, the dope instrumental joint. You just scratching over it. It had a G Funk and 80s, old school feel to the album. There's tracks like, It Don't Stop and Freak the Funk, where they almost sound like a younger version of Run DMC. Like with the back and forth, and that's what it reminded me. We had like a 80s old school with the 90s G Funk sound. I think it was a great album, and it made a shitload of money. It went like multi times platinum, and I liked all three of their albums. Young Rich and Dangerous was dope too, but I played this one out of the three. I played this one the most, and at that time I had my hair braided like them and everything. So, rest in peace, Chris Kelly, Mac Daddy.
Yes,
Great album.
rest in peace indeed. Yeah, man. To me, it's all about the last album for me. I think that's the only album I like from them, honestly.
Oh God.
Totally crossed out.
Uh,
Don't get me wrong. It had good songs. I can
right.
vibe to Jump.
Uh-huh.
Um, Roll It Up, Warm It Up, Chris. That song I can vibe to that one, but
Right. You didn't like I Missed the Bus and
hell no. They should have put Rugrats rap on that one. It's the Rugrats from under They should have put that one on that one. Then it would have been a classic.
man.
But
Man.
the last album, I think the Young Rich, I think they call that
Yeah.
shit like Young Rich and Dangerous.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Jermaine Dupri did his thing on that album.
Yeah. You did.
I can't believe I'm saying. I mean,
Oh, my
you know what?
Lord.
Let me stop because Jermaine Dupri is actually going on me a little bit. A little bit.
I would think you would like him more than I do, being that he's from the South.
What is
You
it with
know?
everyone always thinking that I should like somebody just because they're from the? I'm honest.
Because Southerners are loyal to their people.
What did Jermaine Dupri do to me? What did Jermaine
I'm
Dupri do
just-
for me?
He might give you a damn beat in the future. You never know.
I'm good. I'm good.
You know what I'm saying?
Did he even still produce?
Yes, he still produces.
Now
He did. Remember, he did that Abby Lennox joint that got an award.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, on the R&B side of things, he still does his thing on the R&B
Right.
side of things.
Right.
But hip hop wise, it's hit or it depends on the artist. Like
Right.
the Brat, yes.
Mhm.
Jay-Z, okay, sometimes. But
No.
he did his thing on American Gangster though. I loved him on American Gangster.
He did Sugar Fabulous.
But for Janet Jackson,
for Nelly.
That,
Well, yeah,
that's where,
well, Janet fucked up. She should have stayed with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
yeah, man.
You
But
know,
and I don't mean to say that to be rude and shit, because I haven't heard like a.
mm,
I know he does his thing with business wise and stuff like that too.
right.
So I don't mean like I'm not trying to like shit on the man. I just asked legitly, does he even still
Mm,
produce and shit?
yeah, I don't think anybody's waiting for another Bow Wow album with him, but
You
you
know
know,
what? You know what? Let's just go on to the next one. I think we should do that because I'm not trying to have a Bow Wow conversation and
oh
shit.
Lord,
So my number 12. This is an album. Um, in, com- in comparison to 14. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. In comparison to 14 shots to the dome, it's the Master Ace Incorporated with Slaughterhouse.
mm,
Shit, man. Oh boy, man. This album to me got me through high school. And this is when I was discovering Master Ace's discography.
mm,
It was either this one and Sitting on Corona. That's my favorite. And
yes,
because this discography is probably one of my favorites in hip hop. But with this album, I feel like he was definitely making fun of the whole gangster rap at the time too. And it got him in a lot of trouble too. I
mm,
know it got him beef with Fat Joe because Fat Joe accused him of something out to the West Coast and not being a real graph artist. Because he dissed him on the magazine or some shit too. The details on that beef is still fuzzy. I might have to do a video on that because I know
right,
I talked about it briefly in the past, but
right,
Master Ace got at his ass with a top 10 list, which fire diss track. He killed his ass on that one. I don't give a fuck what no one says.
mm.
I ain't hear Joe say shit after, but anyway, I mean, song. I love the song like the Big E's, like dang dang ding 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 ding. Who is the nigga with the hat full of? I was like, yo, Ace was killing that shit.
Killing it.
Boom bashing the Mad Ones, Oh, I'm sorry. Before go through any further, I gotta go to members of Master Ace Incorporated because you had Ace, Lord Digger, Paula Perry, Lachey, and Issa Rock, who only appeared on this album. They were a duo with Ice-T, Unique,
Mm,
and Rock Diesel and shit too.
right,
But of course, the group broke up right after this album. I mean, Sin on Chrome, of course, and
right.
Lord Digger, he pretty much shit talks Master Ace. He shit talks Master Ace anytime he gets a fucking chance. From
Mm-hmm.
what I've read and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because they said that Master Ace was being grimy with some of the money. It's like a lot of he said, she said, but
Mm-hmm.
Ace
Paula
said,
Perry said it too.
yeah, Paula Perry said it
Mm-hmm.
too and shit too. So
And you know what's crazy? My mother used to work with Lord Digger's mom, and
wow.
she was like they would like telling her about how he was like so happy to work with Master Ace and all that, and then now they don't even talk after all these years.
And it's sad though, because
Yeah.
I love the group together. Like that's actually my favorite era of Master Ace,
Right. Yeah.
honestly.
Same. Same.
And I love Disposable Arts, Long Hot Summer,
Yeah. Those are
Take
dope.
a Look Around, but I always bump those Master Ace Incorporated albums heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Even to this day, I was bumping You Can't Find Me from Sitting on Chrome and shit. So
Facts. Yep. Yep. Number 12, I got De La Soul Balloon Mind State classic album.
I am IB.
And yes, and from the jump, like Della was letting people know, like, yo, they not on that mainstream shit. You know, it might blow up, but it won't go pop. That was what they was. They wasn't trying to be on no mainstream shit. You know, even though me myself and I blew up for them, you know, the casual rap fan knows that song, but they were not about the mainstream, and you know, this whole album went against what was going on with the mainstream at that time. And you know, I Am I Be, one of their best records. You know what I'm saying? I love the jazziness of that song, the saxophones and the beat, and you had like different people cameoing on that song, and you know, different voices on that song, and you know, Stone Age with Biz Markie, rest in peace. Classic joint to finish this album off. I love that joint. Break of Dawn, classic. They used the Michael Jackson sample, you
Break
know,
it down.
from what was it? I Can't Help It.
Yeah.
I always love that song. You know, in the woods with Shorty No Minds. I never know. I never understood why she never came out with an album. Cause she came out with like some songs like 12 inches, but she never came out with like a full album.
I guess because Tommy Boy, De La Soul and Tommy Boy. I guess
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna blow up for sure.
Mm.
And we never got an album from her. Ego Tripping Part 2, dope joint. I think it was you that told me that they were taking shots at Pac on that one.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
The video was like a parody of. It was pretty much a parody of like I Get Around. A lot of those mansion hip hop
Yeah.
videos that was popular, and there was a bald dude with glasses and
Hmm.
stuff like that that looked like Pac. Pac took offense to that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's how it all started. Probably after this video's over, I'll show you the video.
Great album. I love the illustration with the album cover, and they like all their mouths are like intertwined together, and
Mm-hmm.
classic album, classic. Definitely not. I don't hear a lot of people again. They don't mention this. They talk about Stakes is High and 3 Feet High and Rising.
They don't
What
even talk
about
about
this
stakes
album?
high like that.
Huh?
I don't even feel like they talk about stakes high like that.
You don't. I feel like they go to that album. The Stakes is High and it's me. About to say Me Myself and I and 3 Feet High and Rising, and they totally skip over De La Soul is Dead in this album.
Well, see, the way I see it, and this is and I agree with you on that shit too. When it comes to like the De La Soul, I'm gonna say this the word loosely, fans,
Uh huh.
they would always go to 3 Feet High. Occasionally, De La Soul is dead, and I use the
Hmm.
word occasionally loosely,
Right.
and the grind date.
Right.
And the reason why I say the grind date, because the grind date is like they're probably one of the most accessible albums
Hmm.
and a popular album and stuff like that too. Because it had
Right.
like a lot of contemporary production. I think Kanye did some shit. I think
Yeah.
Doom did some shit on that too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But the De La Soul heads, and when I talk heads, I mean like you and I,
Right.
and shit like that.
Mm.
We talk about the first four religiously. Like we pretty much talk
Right.
about the whole discography, but
Right.
the first four are like our favorites and shit.
Right.
But that's why I might do a video one day on the difference between fans and heads,
Right.
because I feel like that's gonna be a dope conversation.
We
Because
didn't do a discography on them, right?
well, no, because pretty much I already talked about like the first four albums,
Okay.
and I'm trying to get the latter albums because I know my record store has copies of like their 2000 album. I know
Right.
the first AOI or whatever
Yeah.
they call that shit. I want to listen to them loosely before I jump back to De La Soul because I don't. That's one of those groups I have to re-listen to a couple of times and stuff
Hmm.
like that to really fully gravitate what they're saying. Because I'm gonna say what I have to say mostly on that album,
Right.
Balloon. But let me say, it took me a couple listens to really
Appreciate it.
vibe to that. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I got that feeling too. Like when I first got it in '93, it was like it was different from the other two,
yeah,
and
very.
I really didn't understand until I heard them talk about the whole concept behind the album and how they were like against mainstream at that time. You had like all the kiddie groups, coming out going platinum, and they wasn't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, it makes sense now, and it might blow up, but it won't go pop. And you hear like the balloon
Yeah,
popping, and that it made sense after they I heard them talk about it. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? Then like many listens later, like I love the album. And just they always were ahead of their time, no matter what decade they were in. They always were doing
exactly.
different, whatever was being trendy. They were going against that, and they were doing their own thing, and they always were different. And I always loved that about them.
Yeah, De La Soul. To me, I like them a bit more than Tribe, in
Yeah,
my opinion, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I love
right.
Tribe and stuff too, but De La, to me, they kept it together. And I
Yeah.
was just thinking to myself yesterday, I feel like Pasta News. I
Hmm.
get like a lot of my influence from him sometimes and shit too, like
He's
rapping
great.
wise.
He's great. Definitely.
Like, and he still sounds the same to
He
this
still
day.
sounds the same.
Still sounds the same.
He ain't change up no flows to
No,
be trendy. He still sounds the same.
yeah.
You
Because
know.
don't get me wrong, I love Dave. I love
Mm.
Mace and
Mace.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love them, and they all do their things, especially
Mm.
on 3 Feet High. But Pasta News is probably like the most consistent member of the group.
Yeah. Definitely.
Uh, Now number 11, the fireworks starter. Let's hit it. Spice One, 187. He wrote.
Mm,
Yes, this is actually probably my favorite gangster rap album next to Doggy Style of that year, shit like that.
okay.
This Tupac even said this. Tupac reference. Tupac
Another
even said
one.
this was the hardest rap album ever recorded and
Wow.
whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Dumping Them in the Ditches is actually my favorite Spice One song. Just
Right.
EA Ski, man, that beat was so fucking hard, and it's like, ding, 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 ding. I love that shit.
Right.
Trigger Gets No Heart, which that was also on a Menace to Society soundtrack. Spoiler alert, that's on my honorable mentions and stuff like that. Was so close to making my list too, so close, honestly.
Uh-huh.
But 93 was such a. I could have done a top 40, honestly, man. But
You could have, yeah. You
I
could
could
have.
have. I might have to do a part two. Some years we might have to do a part two and shit.
Right.
But Trigger Gets No Heart. The same way I feel Straight Up Menace was written for Kane.
Mm,
Trigger Gets No Heart was written for O-Dog and shit like that.
right.
And shit like that. Every time I hear that song, I always see O-Dog just shooting the fuck out that Asian motherfucker and stuff like that.
Oh, dog.
Don't ring the alarm with Boss and G Nut. Boss. We talked about that Born Gangsters album and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Fucking the Murder Show with MC8. Oh my god. I mean, Trigger Happy. Like this, like Spice One. His first 5 albums are fucking fire. First 5 albums and shit like that too. I need to get some more of his album. I have a burnt copy of America's Nightmare. I have that somewhere and shit like
Uh-huh.
that. Which a lot of fans say that's his best album. I love America's Nightmare, but I personally felt a lot of the beats on that album they were trying that death row sound. It's
Right.
not a bad thing, but I kind of felt like it sound wise, it didn't really have Spice One, that Spice One signature of his first two. But again, not a bad album. It has some of my favorite Spice One joints on that one too. Mind you, the Hard to Kill with Method Man, fire,
Right.
fire. But I'm gonna say my thoughts when I get that one day.
All right. Number 11 for me is Guru Jasmine Taz Volume 1. Classic. My favorite Jasmine Taz album in the series. And I love the fact that Guru did something different from the Gangstar stuff, and you know he introduced like the jazz legends like Ronnie Jordan and Donald Byrd, Roy Ayers on this album, and introduced them to our generation at that time when maybe a lot of young kids wasn't listening to jazz like that, but their parents knew who they was, and he did it in a cool way, and he still had Primo a part of this album. You know what I'm saying? And he got a lot of the jazz legends together and said, "Yo, we're gonna do a dope ass jazz album dedicated to the genre and in a hip hop fashion." And I loved it, man. It's a classic. And you had joints like "Trust Me" with India Davenport from Brand New Heavies. Love that song. And "Lounging." Love that joint. No Time to Play. That was another banger. When you're near. The whole album is fire. I love this whole album. I thought it was done in the right way. The way that I don't really know another way that you could have introduced jazz and make it cool to listen to
Right.
with some of these artists. The way that Guru did with this album. And man, this album, I remember reading like the Billboard magazine, Rolling Stone, and everybody was praising this album back then. You should have been nominated for a Grammy. It was that groundbreaking at the time for rap, and you know it was definitely great. I think that's what made him go on and do the other volumes. Volume 2 is just as good. I love that one as well.
Eh,
Definitely need to get that. You didn't like that one?
I'm gonna wait till you finish. One more chapter.
I was saying I definitely need to get volume 2. I want to get all of them, but I thought volume 2 had some joints though. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely was great, and it showed that Guru can make a project on his own without Primo doing all the production, and yeah, it's phenomenal. For rest in peace, Guru.
Here's my thing.
Uh-huh.
Now, first of all, I love Jasmine Taz. I feel like if there was one Guru album hip hop head should own, it should be that one.
Yeah.
But the other Jasmine Tazes,
Yeah, like
and I don't even think that's a word, but fuck it. Um, Jasmine Taz Volume 2, I liked it, but it wasn't as jazzy as the first one. That was when each Jasmine Taz, he was slowly going into R&B.
yeah, I
Like,
agree.
I hate that song Lifesaver. I did not like
You
that.
didn't like that? You didn't like Lifesaver? Not
No,
even the remix?
nope. No, no,
What?
no, no,
Wow, that's one of the best
no,
joints on the
no,
album.
no, 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 no.
What about
I,
this song with Shaka Khan? You didn't like that
I
one?
love that
I
one.
love that one. That was a great
Well, of
collab.
course, a shocker, of course. I
That
can't.
was a that was a great collab.
Now, Jasmine Taz Volume 3,
Uh,
that was good because it had some primo joints and stuff like
yeah.
that, which LL declined, honestly. Excuse me. But
Really?
yeah,
Hold on. LL declined those beats?
yeah, the primo joints on Jasmine Taz Volume 3, LL declined them.
What the hell? I never knew that.
But at the same time, primo could be late, could have been late. You never know because, like I said,
Hold up. When was Volume 3? Volume 3 was in 2000s, right?
yeah, I read it somewhere. I read it somewhere that
Is no in hell. Primo was late and he let LL come out with that trash, that all that garbage from 2000s. LL could have delayed that album for those Primo joints.
well, you know how Def Jam was. Rapone was
Oh
like, "We need
man,
that album. We need that album."
that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Because
like the songs.
he's never I mean, well he did shit with Primo, but it was unreleased. But he never had Primo on any of his albums though.
Nah, like Hustling Days on Jasmine Says Volume 3. That was for LL.
That's crazy. I would have been like, fuck it, I'm delaying this album until I get a Primo
But
joint on
but
here.
you want to put that what's that one track on Go the joint with Imagine That.
Oh Lord.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Right? That's what
But
I'm
see,
saying.
hip hop lesson courtesy of Reg, by the way. Yeah. See
Yo,
where else you gonna hear shit like this though? Where else you gonna hear
that's
shit like this?
crazy. Yeah, like how you call yourself the GOAT? You ain't do a joint with Primo? Like that come on. He gotta come. He doing shit with Q-Tip. Like you need to do a joint with Primo.
Hold on, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Don't disrespect
Q,
Tip now.
Q-Tip is great. But you doing a whole album with Tip. Like in that album, you should have a remix by Primo somewhere.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. Like you gotta do something with Primo, especially now. If you don't do nothing with Primo now, he might regret it. He might because people will remember that like, yo, LL never did nothing with Primo, but you did all this shit with this trash with Timberland and Swizz, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, but regarding Guru,
Mhm.
once he got to bald and slick, it was a wrap. Once Solo got into his head, it was a wrap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't even want to think about Guru. I don't even want to think about Guru in that capacity, honestly. So
Right.
number 10, controversial choice. Ultramagnetic MCs, the Four Horsemen.
Mm.
I was just thinking about the first three
Uh,
Ultramagnetic MC albums. It's so hard to pick a favorite because I love each and every one of them for different reasons.
critical beatdown, definitely. That's their best to me.
Yes, Critical Beatdown that's their best, but
Mm.
my personal favorite, I might have to go with Funk Your Head Up.
Okay.
Because you know why? Because I felt like that album, they were experimenting with R&B, but at the same time, it was dope how it came out. Now, I like your style, but the other R&B joint I could have done without it. But you know what? I'll let it slide though. And it was just that was the beginning of Q-Tip. I mean, Cool Keith. That was the Cool Keith we know and love today. Came from that
Right.
album.
Right.
But regarding the Four Horsemen, this is the album that they did with the help of Godfather Don and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because Don, man, one of New York's most underrated producers and shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? This album, he was still Cool Keith, man. He was still doing his Razor X alter ego.
Mm.
But Said G did his thing on this album, rapping wise. This was
Facts.
deep voice, Said G. And yo, why am I remember this? Like a lot of people did not like this album because of Said G's voice.
Mm.
But compared to Critical Beatdown and Funk Your Head Up, this was the best Said G was ever rapping on it, especially when you got to Raise It Up.
Mm-hmm.
The Saga of Dandy, the Devil, and Day. Which I'm gonna be real with you. The first 5 joints on this album are my favorite Ultramagnetic MC albums. I mean
Right.
songs. Period. Checking Myself, Return to Zero, Two Brothers with Checks. Oh my, Cool Keith, man. Like lyrically, man, like he is just on another level in '93 and shit like that.
Right.
And he threw shots. He dissed Freddie Fox on the song Yo Black and stuff too. I think he said something like, "What am I gonna do with an alligator?" Some shit like that, you know. But
Right.
now the reason why I feel like see the man on I feel like track the see the man on to Don't Be Scared was kind of hit or miss and stuff like that. I liked them, but I didn't like them as the first 5. I felt like it still was a well-rounded album.
Right.
It's me. This is their last album. I'm gonna be real. This to me is their last album. We don't claim best kept secret. That's just what the title is.
You ain't claiming that?
Yeah, we ain't claiming that, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. But Ultramagnetic MCs for Horsemen. This, I mean, if you have some speakers, whoo, go boy. Shit.
Facts. Big facts. Okay. Let me see.
I get goosebumps right now, man. It's top 10. Woo!
Top 10. Shit.
Woo!
We at 10 already. My number 10 is what's my number 10?
Light the fireworks, bro. Light the fireworks.
Fat Joe Represent. That's my number 10.
Woo! Oh,
Classic.
oh,
Yes.
You got the flow, Joe. You got
to flow, Joe.
You gotta let him
know, Joe.
In the words of Fat Joe in that verses, you was not outside when I made this. Supreme rock to this shit.
Today's price is not yesterday's price.
Period.
That man. Yeah.
Woo!
Love this album. I love DITC Boom Bap Fat Joe. Not that shit that he did with Cool and Dre in the 2000s and got made rethugging and What's the Love Got to. I didn't care for those ones. Give me DITC, broke down and out, struggling Fat Joe, Boom Bap Fat Joe. He was hungrier, and his music was the best at that time. All his first 3 albums, still the best in his discography. Represent, Jealous One's Envy, Don Cartagena. That's still my favorite Fat Joe albums, and I think he was this album back then was highly slept on in '93. Phenomenal production from Showbiz and Lord Finesse. Diamond D would Watch the Sound and Pooh on that joint, and you had Shorty Got a Fat Ass. Yes. Get On Up.
It was so ignorant. It was beautiful.
Man, I'ma hit that. Like he was all about bitches and money and crime, and I love old school Fat Joe, not the 2000s version. How he is now is he's not even a shell of his old self. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he could go back to this type of Fat Joe even if he wanted to.
I agree.
And man, I played this a lot. This album needs a remaster though, because the OG copy is light on the bass. We need a remaster, Fat Joe. They gotta remaster this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But phenomenal album. If you love boom bap, DITC, this is the album right here. One of the best albums in '93.
Yeah, man. And you know what? I might throw Loyalty in there too, because I actually fuck with
that. Was dope too. Yeah, that was like the beginning of the 2000s, but he wasn't using Cool and Dre then.
Nah.
Yeah, they started using Cool and Dre after that shit. I'm like, oh.
Well, no, he actually did use Cool and Dre. After the album after Don Carter, I think Jealous Ones and Still Envy. I think.
No, that it was Loyalty was after that one.
Really?
Yeah, and then it was Jealous Ones.
Let me see if I'm thinking of the right album. Hold on. Well, while I'm doing, go ahead.
Yeah, the one with Bust at You and what's the other joint? He had like Alchemist on that album and shit. Loyalty. He was like in the detective office, the at the cop station and shit. That was after Don Cartagena, yeah.
No, because Don Cartagena, it was then Jealous One Still Envy came after Don Cartagena.
Oh, okay. What year was that?
Oh one.
So what the hell
Loyalty
was
was
Loyalty?
oh
Okay.
02.
Yeah, Loyalty to me was his last great album. I didn't care for uh Jose Jose
Yeah,
too.
yeah, to me it was good, not great, but I
Yeah,
still I can accept that. If I
right.
find the album, I need to get that.
So yeah, same.
And another thing too, after the next two placements, I'm gonna go heat up my food downstairs
Okay.
and stuff like that too, because it's close to
Right.
2 in the morning and I gotta eat me something.
Right.
I got me some buffalo chicken pasta. Oof,
Okay.
yes, oof.
Nice.
Number 9.
Mm.
I'm just gonna say this. Slam! Jump on it!
Yes.
Onyx, back the
Let
fuck
them
up.
boys be boys.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
Back the fuck up, number 9. Again, this album, man. When it comes to the whole East Coast Renaissance, I hate that term too, but this album
Right.
never really gets talked about and
Right.
shit like that because Onyx really rapped like they could have been like heavy metal acts at that time, like fucking Pantera
Right.
or some shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? Um, I love throw your guns in the air, pump like you just don't care.
Yes.
Attack of the Bald Heads. You know what I'm saying? Black
Mm.
Vagina Finder. I mean, even the title,
Yes.
look, the track list itself is just iconic. Like bust that ass, the bouncing nigga, and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. It got some of like Jam Master Jay and Shot Skills, the late great Shot Skills, man.
Yes.
Shot Skills to this day. I mean, he was the one that orchestrated their sound, and
Yes.
Big DS. He was like a hype man, kind of, and stuff like that too. This was the only album where he was in Onyx and stuff like that because he left after this album. I think because he felt like I don't exactly know why he left. I think he didn't really vibe with the music. I gotta let y'all know one day,
Right.
but he tragically passed away in '03. Rest in peace to Big DS. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and if it wasn't for this album, Russell Simmons would not have made his Fat Farm fashion brand too, because
Right.
they were the guys that originated the word fat and stuff
Right.
like that. So
Facts.
that's on it with back the fuck up.
I'm a bust that ass.
Attack of the bald heads.
Fire,
Federal
man.
Star did his thing. I feel like Federal
Yes.
shine on that album, but Sticky Fingers shine on All We Got Is Us and stuff.
Yes. Facts. Killed it. Killed it, man.
This
Shit.
is the shit I like. This is the shit I love talking about right here, man.
Yes.
We
Yes,
might do
definitely.
94 this week. Let's do 94 this week too.
94. What we doing? Top 20?
Top 20.
Okay.
Top 20.
Oh man, that's gonna be even heated. A more heated battle.
Yeah, let's do
94.
it. Let's fucking do it, yo.
Yes. Oh man. Um Number 9, I got Naughty by Nature, 1993.
Ooh.
One of my favorite Naughty albums. Big hits off of here. Hip Hop Hooray, like hip hop anthem. It's on where they going after Twister and Sir Mix-a-Lot, and I love that. Love that joint. 1993, the title track just came hard on that track, and letting people know they're not a one hit wonder. And you had Ready for Them with Heavy D. Rest in peace to him. Hot Potato with Bumpy Knuckles. He was still known as Freddie Fox back then. Great collab.
All right.
Written on Your Kitten. Just a phenomenal album with a great production from KG. And Tretch was in his bag lyrically on this album. And yeah, classic album.
I agree.
We did a review on my channel also. Check that out. That's like at 500 views now. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I need to get my hands on that album though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. Before this collection video, I have to take a list. I'm gonna take a list of albums I definitely need, and those are the albums I want to get from Amazon and shit. That way,
Yeah.
I won't just be buying shit just to buy shit.
Facts.
Yeah, man. Number 8. Speaking of Naughty by Nature, I'm gonna go with Queen Latifah with that motherfucking Black Rain.
Mm.
Again, my favorite Latifah album. It's not gonna change my opinion. I even love the album cover and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Um, UNITY. I love that joint, but to me, the remix, I love the remix more and stuff like that.
I never heard the remix.
Oh shit.
Who was on the remix?
Oh, it's her by herself. It's called the Big Titty remix.
I gotta check that.
But the thing is, that's on us. That's available on the Just Another Day single and shit too. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow. So why
yeah,
didn't you know that?
yeah. You know what? That might be a. I have to get some singles too. Oof, I might need to get that
Right.
single. But
If I see it, I'm gonna definitely pick it up.
yeah, definitely. All right. I love songs like Black Hand Side. I love that joint. Listen to Me. The way how that beat is that dun dun
Mm.
dun
Listen to me.
dun. Check it how I
Yes.
check it. Check it how I mean.
Fire.
It's so ill. She threw shots at Roxy and Shantae. I can't understand. My favorite joint, Rough,
Yes.
which in my opinion, I feel like Tresh and KRS One definitely had the best verses.
Right.
This and the crazy thing is this album was dedicated to her brother
Yeah.
who recently died at that time from a
Mm-hmm.
motorcycle accident. And the
Yeah.
crazy thing is like the motorcycle she brought that for him, I think as a birthday present or some shit like that too. And
Yeah.
if you guys watched the living single, she wore the key as a necklace and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So especially like during them earlier seasons too. So
Yeah.
and the crazy thing about it is this was the first album she did on Motown because Nature for a Sister was considered like a commercial failure. That's because Tommy Boy didn't really market that album. Let's be real
Right.
on that. Like I
Facts.
think they only marketed Latifah's Had It Up to Here
Mm-hmm.
because it has some other dope shit too. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Definitely.
around that time too, she was also going through some shit because she had gotten arrested at that
Yeah.
time too, and then she
I
was going
remember
through
that.
substance abuse issues too. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Tommy Boy dropped her, and then she got to deal with Motown Records and stuff too. You know what I'm saying? And I think this was when Andre Harrell. No, no, wait. No. Not Andre. Bixby when he was running Motown and shit too. So
Right.
very dope album. Love it.
Definitely. That's number 8 for me is Heavy D and the Boys Blue Funk. My favorite, no, not my favorite. One of my favorite Heavy D and the Boys albums. I think it's his most street hardcore album though.
Yes.
He didn't have too many R&B joints on this album like he did with Nothing But Love and Big Time and his other Peaceful Journey, but he came harder with this album after Peaceful Journey. Peaceful Journey was like the morning album and Still Morning, Trouble T. Roy. 93 comes in and he comes hard with this album. Blue Funk, the title track, produced by Pete Rock, his cousin. Love that track. Love the drums on that. It's a new day. Great storytelling track. He's like talking about like one of his brothers got shot, and the family was dealing with that, and just tales in the hood in Mount Vernon, and you know, a bunch of niggas, the posse joint with Third Eye, Jesse West, and Busta Rhymes, Biggie, rest in peace, Guru, rest in peace. It's amazing. You have like a collab, and two of those guys are dead. Three of those guys
Right.
are dead actually, on one song. It's crazy. Love that track. It's a great way to end the album off. Yes, y'all, a primo joint, fire. Love the piano arrangements on that. Here comes the Hepster, another primo joint, banging. Love sexy. Um, he sampled the Edo G and the Bulldogs joint. From I got to have it. Love that Pete Rock joint, fire. Every joint here. Who's the man? I forgot about that. That was also I think that was on the Who's the Man soundtrack, right? I think that was on that joint.
Yeah, it was.
Um, Great joint by Tony Dofat.
Ooh,
This whole album was fire. The only real R&B joints he had was Truthful, and I know that was a single. And maybe I want to say Silky, not even Silky. Man, Love Sexy maybe, but he didn't have R&B joints like this on the album. Like it's just straight edge, straight street hardcore hip hop for this album. To me, it's his most underrated album. Like I don't hear nobody talk about this album. Nothing But Love was great, but this man has more than one classic, and I think this is an underrated classic, and I definitely played this a lot. It's always been one of my favorites. So rest in peace, Heavy D.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I'm talking to my phone right now while I put my food in the microwave.
Okay.
Speaking of soundtracks, I'm funny. It's glad that you mentioned that because next week is going to be the soundtrack week where we're just going to review about I think 5 or 6 soundtracks
Okay.
back to back to back and shit like that. I'm gonna
Nice.
resend you the list and stuff like that too. So
Okay.
be on the lookout for that.
Dope.
All right. My number 7 controversial pick. I'm gonna have to go with the King and Nine with that contemporary Jeep music.
Mm, I love
Fucking
that.
boom bap classic in my opinion.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, man. I'm gonna let you tell who they are because I forgot who the members are and stuff like that because I'm downstairs. I'm gonna let you explain who they are and stuff.
They it was like two ball. Was it? No, it was one ball headed dude. I forgot. I gotta look up. I actually was thinking about putting that on my honorable mention, but it didn't. It just didn't make the cut. Um, but yeah, they were I don't even know their names, yo. I remember it was a bald headed dude and a dark skinned cat, but I don't even know their name, and they just came out with some dope boom bap shit. Like, it was just a dope ass album. I'm looking for their name. Is Majesty is the DJ producer, and then you had Izzy. Izzy was the MC. So the dark skinned cat was the MC, and the bald headed cat was the producer and DJ, Majesty, and that was a duo. And I believe they were from New York City or from here.
Yeah.
They only dropped one album, so I only remember like the singles. I remember the what was that shit? Flip the Script, and they had another joint out. But they didn't come out with a lot. They only came out with this album. It's hard to find. I never bought it, but it's definitely, from what I remember, it's definitely a banging album. And again, another under. We had a lot of groups like that where they just dropped like 1 or 2 albums and you didn't hear from them again. But definitely a slept on album.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love it. One thing I loved about that album,
Yeah,
it was so boom bap. I love the drums and the bass lines
yeah.
and stuff like that too. It's a damn shame they only dropped one album. The chemistry on the mic was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why they only came out with one album. Like, what's the backstory with them? So it's not a lot of information to go off of, like with them and shit. So I
Right.
don't know. Yeah, definitely a great album.
Yeah. I'm gonna say my favorite tracks once I go back upstairs. I'm gonna let you say your next pick and shit.
All right, my next pick, number 7 is Onyx, Back the Fuck Up.
Mm.
Another hardcore boom bap album. Love this album. Attack of the Ballheads, like they just came in and bum rushed the whole industry with they ball heads and rocking the Timbs and the Figaro gold chains, and it was a movement. You know what I'm saying? The same way Wu came in, they came in with they, ball head invasion movement, and Jam Master Jay, salute to him, rest in peace. He discovered this group and gave them some fire. You know, Onyx is here. Back the fuck up. Better back the fuck up. Move back, motherfuckers. I remember that little teaser commercial they had for the album. Young TV Raps used to play it. It was fire. We was ready for that album, and when Throw Your Guns came out, that set shit off, and radio was playing that. I was being played in the clubs. People was rioting. People was getting crazy when that joint came on. Shooting their guns off in the air and all that. And that was an anthem at that time. And when Slam came out, it was a rap. Then it was like they introduced they had a broader audience now with the white kids that was into the thrash metal, and you know they were into tearing shit up. and that was like a whole movement. And then you had a Black Vagina Finder was dope. Shifty, love that joint. Um, bitch ass bootleggers, and they talk about the bootleggers, on the streets of that time, bootlegging everybody's album. Even another Pac reference. Pac couldn't stand bootleggers. I remember in the Thug Immortal documentary, like he went to Times Square and he was like fucking up all the bootlegger shit at that time because he didn't want his album being bootlegged by them. And yeah, that was like a big thing at that time, the bootleggers. And yeah, this whole album is fire. Like I love their first three albums. This one and All We Got Is Us, Shut Them Down. And they still dropping albums now. I listened to their recent album a couple months ago. It was fire. They still got that grimy sound to them. They haven't changed. They changed producers, but even using the Snow Goons now, Snow Goons are giving them that grimy sound. They could have been running to Griselda, to Alchemist, or they chose to use Snow Goons, and they Snow Goons are like from Germany or something like that, and giving them that grimy sound like even in 2022. So they still dropping heat after all these years, man, and they definitely Hall of Famers in my book.
Yes, I fucking love that
Yes.
album, bro.
Yes. Rest in peace to Big DS and Shy Skills and Jam Master Jay.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to contemporary Jeep music
Mhm.
and stuff. 'Cause I can remember some tracks off the top of my head. I love Flip the Script. That's a dope track. Tears was pretty ill as fuck. You know what I'm saying? What else? Lost My Mind. I love the beat to that one and shit. So yeah, man, that was very dope. We might need to talk about that record one day.
Yes, for sure. I've never seen that album in years. Yo. If I ever see that in a while, I gotta pick that shit up. you know,
I feel you on that.
it's been a minute.
Yeah, man. Album number. Where am I? Give me 1 second. I gotta put my list back up.
We on 6.
Yeah, I know. I just have to pull up my list
Yeah.
again and shit like that. I don't know how I could have just. Yeah, my phone's been on some asshole shit. Give me a second. What the flying fuck, yo? How they gonna do this delete my fucking list? Oh my god, that's why I can't stand my fucking phone. Give me 1 second, bro. Give me
Yeah.
1 second. Cause damn, man. Shit. I'm just gonna fucking delete my fucking list. Give me 1 second, y'all. I
Yeah.
did this shit on my fucking phone and shit like that, and my phone's being a fucking asshole as usual. You know what? I got that. I got this. What number are we at, bro?
6.
6. Okay, I got this. I should remember my shit. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull up some Google list. I know which one. It'll come to me like one time. Do my shit. Okay, number 6. Okay, here we go. My next is gonna be Kara's Ones with Turn of the Boom Back.
That's my 6.
Oh wow. Okay, cool.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, man. This is actually how you. This is how you reinvent yourself and stuff. Is in my opinion. Because, well, I'm gonna be real. Sex and Violence, even though it's marketed as this Boogie Down Productions album, and it in this regard it is, it was a new version of Boogie Down Productions and stuff. He had a major falling out with certain members and stuff too, and him and Miss Melody had divorced at that time too, so he had hooked up with this guy named Willie D, not the
Not the Ghetto Boys.
yeah, the different Willie D and shit too. So yeah, man. So Sex and Violence was a very controversial album at that time too, because at that time he had gotten a lot of flack for throwing PM Dawn off stage and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But people are worried about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock and shit like that too. But I'm gonna keep that for another day.
Mhm.
Um, what else? What else? What else? What else about this album? Also, like, yeah, I kind of felt like this was like a continuation of Sex and Violence, but less controversial. I felt like he kept it on like the battle rap, lyrical side of things and stuff like that too.
Right.
I mean, he had some of the illest producers like Showbiz, Kid Capri, DJ Premier, and of course, Kenny Parker and himself produced a lot of the joints on this album as well too. You know what I'm saying? I love joints like I Can't Wake Up. A very original topic and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Sound of the Police, which probably is one of his signature tracks.
Right.
I got the Mad Crew.
Yes.
That my favorite joint, P is Still Free, which is like a continuation slash remix of the Boogie Down production song The P is Free,
Mhm.
which I like the original version, don't get me wrong, but how Primo did his thing on this one with the way he did that bass line and that way he updated it for 93 standards, I fucking love that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Higher Level. Oh my god. That was a dope track. Oh,
Mhm.
one more thing. There was also a song called Hip Hop versus Rap.
Right.
That was on like the B side of Sound of the Police and stuff like that too. He
Mhm.
also performed that track on Yo MTV Raps with Out of Here and stuff like that too. So
Right.
check out that shit too. So that's a very, very, very dope record. KRS One at his prime.
Yes. 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 And that's my number six. Keras One. Love that album. Him and Primo, great chemistry. Out of Here was a big hit. Black Cop. Love that he's attacking the shiesty black cops that we still have. On police forces in this day and age, and you know, Sound of the Police. Another joint attacking the cops. That was an anthem. The title track, Return of the Boom Bap. Love the bass line for that, and classic album. I did this. I should have been at this. I don't know why I never bought it, but I definitely need to get this joint for sure.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Certain albums,
Yeah.
it's just timeless. It just goes on you on certain times and shit.
Yes. Definitely.
All right. So the top five. Okay. So luckily, I remember my top five. Luckily, thank
Yes.
God. This all came back to me. So my number five is Black Moon. Enter the
That's
Stage.
that's my number five.
Oh my fucking god.
Yes, that's my number five.
Yes, boy. You will.
Yeah.
The review we did on this album months ago. You
Yes.
guys should know how much I love this joint. This is definitely one of the most influential hip hop albums ever. It kind of birthed a whole new era of East Coast rap and stuff like that too. Them rocking the hoodies and the Tim boots and shit like that. Also the beginning of the boot camp clique and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, man. Nervous Records. They fucking screwed them over, but that's another story for a different day. So Black Moon consists of Buckshot, 5 Foot, and DJ Evil D. Buckshot definitely is he's my favorite member of the boot camp clique. I don't give a fuck when no one says like
Yeah. Definitely.
a lot of this based off like his lyrical ability and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
it's like Rakim mixed with what's the motherfucker's name? Shit. It's like Rakim mixed with fucking it'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. I'm just too tired right now anyway. Um so yeah, this album is like so fucking dark and grimy. I love songs like Powerful Impact.
Yes.
Who Got the Props was dope, you know what I'm saying? Make Money, Slave. I Got You Open and Buck 'em Down. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of prefer the remixes over those tracks and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I love the original versions too, but the remixes was just something else.
Yeah.
But a lot of the underground heads, they kind of felt like they were kind of selling out. From what I looked up, they were selling out with those remixes because it was like a lot more polished compared to what was on the album and shit too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which Biggie would use the same formula when he did the One More Chance remix and stuff like that too, and so on. But and it's crazy too because 5 Foot he didn't like this album because like he felt like he wasn't really utilized as much and
Right.
stuff like that too. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I
But
feel like he was never utilized a lot though.
well,
You know what I'm
Warzone, I
saying?
felt like he was utilized. Warzone,
And he never dropped anything solo. Like, why is that?
a lot of boot camp clicks members didn't
Well,
drop anything.
yes, well, OGC, we know that's a whole nother story you got, but yeah, I feel like they didn't use him a lot.
Yeah, I personally agree about it.
Mm,
Once we talk about Warzone one day and shit like that, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Shit.
yeah.
But that's my number 5.
That's my number five classic album, a groundbreaking album. Great production from the beat miners, real gritty, monotone beats, production. Buckshot is a great lyricist, great freestyler. Still doing it now in this day and age. And Who Got the Props was a huge joint. How many MCs? I Got Your Open remix with the Barry White sample. Love that joint. And the video where they like in the dead of winter with the goose down coats and the Tims and that rocking the hockey jerseys over the coats and buck 'em down remix. That was actually shot on my high school block because I remember I was there when they were shooting it. Like they had the video truck set up, and I didn't see when they were actually shooting. I saw the video trucks, but they shot that video on the same block as my high school. I went to Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, and they shot it on that same block as the high school. And yeah, this whole album was great. 5 Mic classic. There's not a bad track on this album, and this is the Black Moon I love. This right here, they definitely was in the zone on this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
All right. Um, Number 4 is De La
Okay.
Balloon Mind State. Yeah, like what you said about this album. This album is definitely one of the most dopest albums to date, in my opinion. Very experimental. They were talking about, commercial hip hop at that time and stuff like that. They're experimenting a lot with like soul music and R&B, like utilizing like a lot of Motown samples, you know what I'm saying? Especially with Break of Dawn, which I think you lost track.
No, I'm here.
Oh, my fault. Huh? You were just frozen for a bit. That's why I was like, oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what was I saying? What was I saying? Balloon Break of Dawn, which definitely a very, very, very dope track and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I Am I Be. That had Maceo playing the fucking saxophone and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Patty Duke with fucking Guru and stuff like that. That was dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this album itself is just a fucking timeless album, in my opinion. I felt like this album never got it's just you by a lot of hip hop. Because a lot of hip hop fans, I think they said it was like a bit too abstract and stuff like that. They love this album, don't get me wrong, but it's like whenever they talk about this album, it's always they talk about Break of Dawn and Ego Tripping and shit, but it is what it is. Oh, there was an unreleased track they did called What the Fuck. No, not What the Fuck, it's called Mind State, but it's labeled as What the Fuck
Oh,
on one of their compilations they did. Very dope track. That should have definitely been on the album. But they said that they only did that to fuck with Tommy Boy's heads. But see, Tommy Boy, they said that they fucking liked the song, but they also, once they said they heard they liked it, they was just like, nah, we're not gonna put it on the album and stuff like that. So
right.
yeah.
Number 4 for me is Cypress Hill, Black Sunday,
Like Sunday.
classic album. My favorite Cypress Hill album. I love Temples. I love the first one, but this is my favorite. And I love the fact that it didn't just sound like a rap album. They they brought in a sound and they experimented and they gave us a masterpiece with this album. And from the first song, I want to get high, an anthem. It's a short track, but it's everybody knows this song. And Insane in the Brain, like classic record, one of my favorite Cypress songs. I was everywhere at that point. I think I saw that video on MTV like at least 3 times in an hour. Like they were playing that shit a lot, in '93, and that was, I love that song on Hits from the Bong, which was played in like movies and stuff. That was a banger. Loved the drums on that, and Lick a Shot, Cock the Hammer. I think Cock the Hammer was on the Last Action Hero soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow.
It was on a soundtrack. I want to say, I Ain't Going Out Like That, fire, phenomenal album. Like Muggs was flawless in his production. The lyrics from Be Real and Send Dog, just a masterpiece of an album. Love it. Love the album covers. We got that horrorcore feel to it, with the hill and the tombstones and the skulls. Classic masterpiece.
Dope choice, by the way.
Yes.
Number 3 is Snoop Dogg with Doggy Style. Yeah, man, that would have to be on my fucking list. Probably the biggest album in '93, and stuff like that, in my opinion.
Right.
Snoop definitely did his thing with this one.
Yeah.
Dre definitely did his thing with the production as usual. Dre was fucking. Y'all heard about Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg doing another album together?
That's what are they doing it now?
Yeah, Dre is like making the beats for it right now and shit.
So it's definitely coming out.
We'll see.
Wow.
You fucking know when it comes to Dre and shit,
Right? Now I'm like, yeah, 'cause I seen Eminem in the studio with them. I'm like, they really coming out with an album, or they just hyping people up and they never drop? He's done this before. Remember, he's doing shit for Nas, and we still waiting for that Nas stuff.
Man, I'm kind of glad they didn't really come out, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of their collaborations were not really some of my favorites. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Right.
But yeah, Doggy Style, man. This was definitely one of my favorite. Actually, my favorite Snoop album. Let me stop capping this stuff. Fucking What's My Name, Gin and Juice. Ain't No Fun If the Homies Can't Have None. All fucking timeless classics and shit. 5 Mic classic. This definitely sustained Death Row as a label not to be fucked with and shit. Honestly.
Definitely. Number 3 for me is Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, classic album. I love the way that Ali was on the Talent podcast, and he talked about making the album and how they got Bob Powers to engineer the album and to get the sound the way that they wanted it, and having that female voice, like the female narrator of the album on here, like at a time when the technology wasn't where it's at now, and he made it work, and the production was great, the songs, the lyrics. Fife was in his bag on this album. Q-Tip, Steve Biko, one of my favorite joints. Award Tour, Electric Relaxation. Keep It Rolling with Large Professor. Oh my God, like this whole album was a masterpiece, like from front to back, all banging tracks. I don't know, when people say it's their best album, I can't argue with that. I love this. I love Low End Theory. Those two are my favorites. So I think they were just a great group. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg. Rest in peace to Dilla. Just a phenomenal album.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midnight Marauders, definitely a fire ass album. In my personal opinion, they would definitely master their sound up to that point. On like a award tour, God Lives Through, Steve Biko. I mean, there's not even a bad track on the album and whatnot too. Personally, I feel like Low End Theory is their best work,
Yeah,
but this is not far behind. I'm not gonna argue with anybody that said this is their best album.
man.
Hmm, Jesus, y'all don't mind me right now. I'm eating that shit. So
Uh, Number two for me is Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the 36 Chambers. I love this album. This is a masterpiece. They changed the game with this album. I remember being in high school one day in English class, the back of the class, and we was just all talking, and a homeboy of mine had a the bootleg advanced copy for 36 Chambers before it dropped, and I remember hearing Bring the Ruckus and having like 9 MCs on one song. It was bananas. Watching the video for Protect Your Neck from Ralph McDaniels was the first to play it, and it was crazy. And it's like nothing I never heard before, and all of them were like lyrically gifted. The production was inspired by karate films, kung fu flicks by the RZA, and man, that when I heard Cream for the first time and Can It All Be So Simple, the Method Man joint, it was over. I became an instant fan, and they definitely changed the game with that album and with the record deals that they had for each member. You know what I'm saying? It just groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we'll ever get another Wu-Tang Clan like this. They were like the epitome of like rap groups. I don't think we'll ever get another collective like
hell
them.
no.
You know what I'm saying? Is just they were just far ahead of their time. Even like RZA had a vision even back then. It was just groundbreaking for what he did for the clan and for what they did for music as a whole. And yeah, man, this was definitely a always be a classic album, man. Like it easily could have been number one for me, and it was just that great. 93 was just a great year. There's a lot of groundbreaking albums that we have on this list that was just game changers. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of them.
I agree. Mm. That's actually my number one.
Yeah,
36 Chambers is my favorite album of '93. I feel like this album was just a landmark in hip hop. You mixed 9 rappers with kung fu knowledge, spiritualism, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how Rolling Stone ranked it like the 27th greatest album of all time and shit. I mean, say what y'all want to say about that 500 greatest albums list, but once I saw all them black albums topping the charts, I'm not really that mad about it. I'm gonna be real.
yeah, right,
That's only for the 500 greatest albums. The hip hop album, that's a different story.
right.
But yeah, man. As soon as you heard "Bring the Motherfucking Ruckus," I mean, it was already a rap and shit like that, boy.
Crazy.
Clean in the Front was dope. I love Can It All Be So Simple.
Mm,
Who Ain't Clean Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. I mean, this whole album to this day,
crazy.
still bump this shit. It's still one of those fucking albums you can just fucking listen to and just it sonically it still holds up to this day.
Facts. Number one for me is Snoop Doggy Dogg. Doggy Style is no surprise. Dre gave this man a classic and introduced the world to this man on deep cover, and it was a rap from there. And you know, hearing them body every song he was featured on the Chronic, he had one of the biggest buzz ever for artists. There's not too many rap artists that had a huge buzz. It's him, it's Biggie, it's 50 Cent. Maybe not even. I don't know about. I don't even know if I could say Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't. A lot of people didn't know who the hell Kanye was at that time when College Dropout came out. But yeah, Snoop's buzz for Doggy Style was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And we couldn't wait for it to drop, and he delivered a masterpiece, and you know, it was cinematic and telling his life, from Long Beach on this album, and Great trade. Ain't No Fun with Nate Dogg. Rest in peace. A masterpiece. I love that song. The Shiznit banging. Pump Pump banging. Serial Killer banging. Gin and Juice, an anthem. My mother loves that song, and she didn't know who the hell Snoop Dogg was before this album, and I think this album properly introduced the world to him, and it's still his best album to me. Still his best album, ever. And I was a huge Snoop Dogg fan, and this is like, and I was listening to G Funk, not even G Funk, but gangster rap late. Like I didn't grow up on NWA, so my introduction to gangster rap was Death Certificate, and after that, I just became a fan of a lot of those artists, and that Snoop definitely delivered with this album. The album cover is iconic. It's on T-shirts now. It's on posters, mugs, everything. You can't find no merchandise. You can find any merchandise now with this album cover. It's all over,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that iconic. And the songs were iconic. The features, Lady of Rage and RBX, the Dog Pound, Nate Dogg, rest in peace, Warren G. Iconic album. You know what I'm saying? Definitely had to be my number one.
That's a dope choice.
Yeah,
I have about five honorable mentions. I'm
me
just gonna
too.
run by these. I'm just gonna run by these right quick. This is hard as fuck too. So
Yeah.
first honorable mention is the Menace to Society soundtrack. Mm.
Mm,
I feel like as a soundtrack, that definitely did its thing for the movie. It sets the whole fucking tone at the fucking movie, in my opinion.
yes.
I mean, straight up Menace was dope, and then you had Pocket Stones
Mhm.
with UGK and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Function up to get beat down. I think the remix was on that one. Only the strong survive. Excuse me. You've been play. I mean, that whole soundtrack was a fucking vibe and shit.
Now they had the lick them motherfuckers joint.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah,
And
you're right. Look at that motherfucker. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm. All right. That's my first honorable mention.
I
Second
got
honorable.
oh good,
Oh,
okay.
you can go. You can go. You
I got Big Daddy Kane looks like a job for
go. Ooh.
a hard album. I hated the singles he picked. I didn't think he should have released what was it, Very Special. Didn't
Yeah.
like that song. That song should have never been a single. Crap, and they were playing it on the radio like it was some big hit. I'm like, this shit is garbage. And I love Spinderella, but she should have never been on this song. You know what I'm saying? Not don't like the singles. How You Get a Record Deal was dope. Trackmasters, early Trackmasters produced that. Um, Definitely enjoyed that. Stop Shamming, Brother Man. Um,
Okay.
the Enough Respect remix. Definitely a banging album. We had production from Lost Professor on here and Easy Mo B, and Kane produced no. Who else? Yeah, I said Trackmasters. Yeah, Kane produced some stuff on here as well. The Bomb Squad. That definitely is definitely an underrated album from him. But he picked the wrong. He was picking the wrong singles for a lot of his albums. That's why people, after the second album, they slept on them. You know what I'm saying? Like he did the same thing with Prince of Darkness. He picked the wrong singles for that album, and that's one of them. That's always been one of my favorites. I think the singles is what ruined them. That radio play, but the album itself was definitely a banger. Definitely underrated Kane on this album.
Yeah, that's a dope choice.
Yeah.
I got Heavy D and the Boys with Blue Funk.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Who's in the house? Call a bunch of niggas. I would love that.
Yes. Ah.
Mm. Yes, y'all. I mean, this was released at a time when they were still recovering from Trouble T War's death,
Hmm.
and it kind of had like a little darker, somber kind of tone and whatnot too. You know what I'm saying? Truthful was that joint. Girl, I love that. Here Comes the Hefster. I love that. Fire ass album.
Yes. I got Who's the Man soundtrack. Classic soundtrack. Love this soundtrack. The movie was okay, not great. I loved it. It was like a shitload of cameos in Who's the Man, but the soundtrack, when you get the first the first debut of Biggie Smalls with Party and Bullshit, rest in peace, Biggie, and you got Jodeci with Let's Go Through the Motions and Mary J. Blige, You Don't Have to Worry, P Rock and Seal Smooth with What's Next on the Menu, Eric Sermon hitting switches. This whole soundtrack is phenomenal. A 5 mic classic. Definitely one of the best, one of the best soundtracks of that year.
Wow, you ain't lying.
Yes.
All right. My next honorable mention is probably going to be MC Light, Ain't No Other.
I got that on my list too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this was Light at her most gangster as she was on that hardcore tip with this one and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, everyone, everyone knows the song Roughneck. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Love that fucking joint. Hard Copy was ill.
Mm-hmm.
Again, she threw shots at Roxanne Shante with the song Steady Fucking.
Yes.
Um, my favorite joint is I Go On. That's my favorite joint.
Yes. I
But
love that joint. And the remix. The remix was dope.
the remix.
Yes.
But other than that, yeah, that's probably my last favorite Light album. 'Cause everything else that she did after that was kind of in.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a banger. Like you said, like we did a review on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great album. Brooklyn was fire. Roughneck and Teddy Riley joint was dope, and I Go On, Steady Fucking, 1993. A great album. Definitely a great album from MC Light, man. I enjoyed this one.
Excuse me. My second to last honorable mention. Let's see where I'm at. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince Code Red.
Mm.
Yeah, the last album and my personal favorite album they've done. Yeah, man, this album to me, they were definitely more mature with this one.
Yeah.
Funk and Twinkle Twinkle, I'm Not a Star, Boom, Shake the Room. I love the remix, the one with the remix on that one. It had a better beat. I Want to Rock, just kicking it. Shadow Dreams. I don't understand why motherfuckers hate this album, but you know what? They're missing out. This is Code Red, DJ Jazz Jeff, and Fresh Prince.
I got Yo Yo. You Better Ask Somebody. Fire album, one of my favorite Yo Yo albums. It's more like a G Funk album for her. And she had the Bonnie and Clyde theme with Ice Cube, classic collab. I wish they had did an album together. You had IBW in with my crew in. That was fire. What else? What else? What else I liked on here? Oh yeah, 2020 Sack. That was a banger. Um, Giving It Up. She had some bangers on it. Definitely it has that G Funk sound. It's slept on to me. I love her first two as well. But this was a dope album for.
Mm. Dope choice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Yo-Yo, my last honorable mention is Ice Cube Lethal Injection.
Yes.
Yeah, man. This to me, the Ice Cube's last great album, solo wise.
Definitely.
I mean, niggas talk about, oh, he's going to be G Funk on this. I was like, who gives a flying fuck, man?
That he should have been did that though. That's his lane. He should have been did that.
Actually, nah.
You don't think he should have did that?
No. I mean, I don't mind the G Funk sound, but
Mm.
I never felt like he did any G Funk before this album, honestly. Well,
Right.
Steady Mobbing, I can kind of see because it had that
Right.
it had that beat, but
I'm saying he should have been did an album like that though.
Oh, gotcha.
With all G Funk, I'm like, it's the West Coast. That's what they were doing. That's their thing. So why is he getting the hate for doing a G Funk album?
I guess because like the first 3 Ice Cube albums were real like original content for like a lot of people, and it was just more harder. Where people felt like he kind of slowed his flow down with this one. Which I agree on that part.
You think he slowed his flow down?
But the first 3 albums, he was like had that rougher kind of flow, but then with him working with like QD3
right
a lot on this album, he definitely had to utilize like rapping in a more slower kind of form, like especially What Can I Do?
Yeah.
You know how we do it and shit like that. To compare those 2 tracks to Colorblind and The Wrong Nigga to Fuck With and shit,
Right. I love it.
Same.
I think it's a great album. You know how we do it. That was a big hit over here. They played that on radio and Really Though and Bop Gun. Like they had some bangers on me. I don't know why people don't give that album the respect it deserves. That's a great album compared to all the other shit that he dropped in the 2000s. Like that's definitely a classic. Like War and Peace was after this album. A lot of people don't remember that. And that was not a good. Those 2 albums were not great. You know what I'm saying? Like that Lethal Injection was great. I definitely need to get that one.
Yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
That's my album. That's on my honorable mention. And Mention Society, classic soundtrack. MC8, love that track. Straight up Menace. They played that on the radio over here. The Pete Rock and Seal Smooth joint was fire. The smooth joint you've been played. I remember seeing the video a lot on BT for that. It was great, man. The Ant Banks joint, Packing the Gun, Trigger Got No Heart. They played that a lot over here as well. High Five, Unconditional Love, like classic soundtrack. Nice blend of East Coast and West Coast artists. You got a little R&B as well. Great soundtrack, great movie. Also, I got 14 Shots to the Dome. Love that album. Underrated. Backseat was my joint on there. How I'm Coming. Stand by Your Man. Pink Cookies. Dell, The Funky Homo Sapien, No Need for Alarm. Love that album. What else? What other albums? Dig with Planets, I'll mention. I need to get that again because when that album came out, like a lot of this shit went over my head, like their lingo and everything. But they had some bangers. Swoon Units and Where I'm From, Nickel Bags, of course. Rebirth the Slick. Definitely a dope album, man. I didn't appreciate it back then, but I definitely need to get my hands on that album again.
Yeah, I feel you. I was so close on getting that album too, but
yeah,
some bastard already got it before.
He said some bastard.
Right.
Oh so Lord.
I got the second album though, so I'm grateful about that.
Bloodcomb was dope too. I like Bloodcomb also. That was dope.
Yes, sir. All right, yo. That concludes 1993 list.
Yes.
Couple. You know what? Let's do 94. I gotta work this weekend. I just realized I gotta work this weekend. All right. Let's do that Thursday night.
Okay.
Top 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
94, boy. Yes.
I'm
in.
Sure. Also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say it's gonna be lit.
Oh yeah. Niggas gonna be ready to die when we see y'all list. Yeah, they're gonna be ready to die as the sun rises in the east. Shit.
Facts.
Also next week is gonna be the soundtrack week.
Yes.
Depending on when Ashley's work schedule is, one of those soundtracks might be a late night review. Okay. We still gotta do the living single breakdown and shit too. So throwing that shit out there. So be on the lookout for that.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, that's pretty much everything and stuff. Appreciate this, bro, as usual. Did you still want to see that De La Soul video?
Yeah. Send me that joint.
You said send it to you? Okay, I bet.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all have a good night and shit. Peace.
Yes. Peace.